Yes, yes, check. Mic check. Mic check. Yes, so the world champion is up and gunning. The world champion is up and running, ready to defend them crown. This is a very, very good Argentina team. It's just probably just two players missing. Yeah, probably just two. One retired and one is currently injured at this moment. That started in that last final. I think Julian Alvarez was the player that started in that final as the second striker beside Lionel Messi. And also, Julian Alvarez is in the squad, but he's also just on the bench. But the likes of Angel Di Maria, retired from international football, and Tagliafico, currently out injured at this moment. So those are the few faces that not around at this moment in this current game on the field. We're talking about players that were involved in that excited encounter in Doha, Qatar 4 years ago with the French national team. But the likes of Almada, I think the Argentina team is a very good team. Look, this team going to be a very tough team to beat. They're going to have the crowd. They're going to have the best player in the world. Lionel Messi. And when Messi is on the pitch, he always creates some type of a chaotic moment, for the opposition team where they will be distracted of where will Messi be on the pitch. How can we zone him out? How can we limit his time, on the ball? We can get him running in areas where he will be less effective to the Argentina team. Those are the stuff that opposition team will be thinking about. But it will be tough. It will be tough. Yeah, it will be tough to contain. You get what I'm saying? So let's see what Algeria team, will do. They scored earlier, but it was ruled offside out. I think it was a very decent finishing as well. When I saw that goal went in, I was like, whoa, is this the same thing like what we witnessed 4 years ago with the same team? Argentina playing against a team that wearing green in the opening group stage fixture. So looking in it, man, I'm like, this is like a deja vu. This is like a deja vu for the Argentina team. But I love the way all this Argentina team balance. I like the way how this team, it's just the body of effort of each individual on that pitch. Just fighting for one cause. And they all commit to that suicide crime already. You get what I'm saying? They all commit to that suicide. So it's in or nothing. They're going all in and they're not leaving without anything. So let's see which team can strip the Albe Celeste from their crown. It will be tough, but whenever Argentina is playing, a major tournament, the fans will travel. But this World Cup will be special, for them. The fans, they will have much more power, inside of the stadium and also outside of the stadium. The atmosphere, around, the camp of where Argentina will base, it will be absolutely crazy, with fans. You get what I'm saying? This is the Americas region. This is this is the food basket for the Albe Celeste fans. To travel, to walk around. They all live here. They don't have to travel far. It is in their region. It's just walking distance. If you have people from Argentina is taking the longest route, back in the days, even to go to Qatar, to go to Russia, they're going to travel. They're going to travel, and from Argentina to those countries, it's a distance. It's quite a distance away. So if it only takes them to just walk across the border, to get here, they're going to do it. You know what I'm saying? And it's so crazy that seeing Argentina score, and the first thing the cameraman did was to put that camera in the crowd, and the fans start to cry. That is a joy, Argentinian get from watching their beloved, national team. And if you haven't witnessed, like, I must say, watching Argentina game, you something is missing, from you, by watching international football. It is one of the most craziest atmosphere I've ever been in. When you talk about passion, when you're talking about singing, they're so emotional as well. Yeah, I mean, there's everything about this national team. I met some, Argentinians, going to a game, already watching, Argentina team. Met them on my way, on the train, and they tell you that, listen, Argentina means even more than my wife. It is crazy, man. It is crazy. You get what I'm saying? These fans live, sleep, breathe everything Albe Celeste. That's why I believe, outside of them, winning, what, 3 World Cup, I think it's one of the best. It's one of the best national team to watch. It's just the way they express themselves. They sometimes they can be flamboyant as well. But this Argentina team is, I think it's manufactured different now, especially on a Lionel Scaloni. Even back in 2018 when he took over, you have less experience, to be in around this role. He's little bit of experience, managing youth teams, assistant coach. I think under George Sampoli at Sevilla, have not much experience. So to see him at this moment, 8 years later, won everything that he could have ever won, for the national team, Copa Americas, World Cup. I mean, it is just a fantastic moment, and it's a very good journey. You get what I'm saying? So the job, and that's almost, the job that Lionel Scaloni is doing for Argentina, winning regional tournaments, winning the World Cup. This is the type of achievement Didier Deschamps should have for the French national team, because year in and year out for the World Cups and Euros, he has been here since the catastrophe in Johannesburg in South Africa, where they get knocked out of that first round in the group stage. Yeah, when the whole thing, when they sent to him Nicolas Anelka. He got appointed a few years after that. I think around 2011, 2012, Didier Deschamps got appointed. So he's been here, for almost 2 decades now. And he have never won, the European trophy. I've never won. He's just looking at Lionel Messi just crying, just scoring a goal, again for his national team. It's just the art I love that they putting in this national team. It's just sometimes very hard to describe. Sometimes you see how these players react. Just playing for Argentina, man. It's just even listen to even Diego Armando Maradona doing interviews, talking about, I'm playing for Argentina. This guy, every time he talk about the national team, it's like he want to break down in tears. You get what I'm saying? So Didier Deschamps should have at least a few Euros, and I'm not going to really say the Copa America is a much bigger, regional tournament than the Euros. The Euros have more teams like Germany, Portugal, Spain, England. So it's a bit difficult. But when you host the Euros and home side, and you let Portugal come in your backyard and capture that Euro away from in 2016, yeah, that says a lot. You get what I'm saying? So winning and capture the World Cup for the very first time, since 1998. You get what I'm saying? That's like 20 years later. it is a magnificent achievement and the way how they did it. But I just feel tournaments every 2 years when the French national team is going into a tournament, arguably they're in the probably if not the top two or the top three, the best squad going into that tournament, and one of the top favorite with the most talented potential players in that squad. So I just in nature, man. Oh, Lionel Scaloni, is achieving so much greatness out of these players. These players, I think this will be the last real time this squad going to play together in our FIFA World Cup. I think the next World Cup, if you look at the bench, how he's implementing, the youngsters, into the team already, bringing them to the World Cup. It's not like he couldn't pick better players or more mature players that's ready, but no, he's bringing the youngsters, the next uprising superstars of Argentinian football, just to have that experience, just like Brazil will do to R9, just like Diego Armando Maradona. I think he went to, is it? I think it was. I don't remember if it was the no. It is. I don't think it's the year when Kempes won it 78. I think he was a boy in 82 as well. Yeah, and then Mexico go on to host the World Cup 86 and he won it. So if you look at the superstars, that they merge into the national team, and 2006 would have been Lionel Messi, very young. You get what I'm saying? Very young with that super team, that super Argentina team at that time. Very young, watching, and having the experience and playing those games as well. Would have been one of the brightest young players around world football at that time, coming up through the Barcelona ranks as well. You'd have seen 2-3 years after that, lifting the Champions League for FC Barcelona as a very young kid, early 20s as well. So it tells you, man, how Lionel Scaloni, is here to stay. And I'm just thinking that with the likes of Messi, arguably this will be his last World Cup. I just feel like he will last a big part of the Argentina dressing room of losing a player, magnificent player, the best player, the world have seen in this modern day and age, since Diego Armando Maradona. So I just think they will lose a big part of that dressing room. They will lose a big heart and soul. They will lose, one of the most gifted player, can create anything out of nothing for the national team. If you look at that goal that he scored, like it was a magnificent pass, from his security, Rodrigo de Paul, such thin margin where that ball could have gone wrong, and the space that where that ball went, my goodness, it was just a quick thinking of Rodrigo de Paul to get Messi on that ball, and not many players in this team could have picked up that ball right in that pocket and turn that goal and then, look up and then shoot with the left foot and be so accurate. Yes, the goalkeeper should have done a lot better with that opportunity, but you're talking about placement, man. You're talking about you don't want to too overcompensate by hitting the ball too hard. Yeah, you just want to use outside of your left foot that you slightly want to curl it, but you want to hit it as close as possible with, towards your instep, where that big bone is at, where's a big toe. Yeah, you don't want to hit it flush with your instep, but you want to curl it as well with that left foot inside. So it's just the technique. I know, Messi, hit the ball sometime, and it's just a quick thinking of how you deliver, those moments. It's huge. It's going to be huge, for Argentina. And I'm looking at the squad. You look at Romero and Lisandro Martinez, in the center back role, right? I think arguably they are not losing anything. Yes, Otamendi is not that player anymore. Moving away from Benfica, going back home in Buenos Aires, to play for River Plate. He's not that player anymore, but having Lisandro Martinez in the team, I think they don't lose nothing. I think it's a perfect replacement. Both players aggressive. There's not the best of pace, height, but the Algerian team is pressing. The Algerian team is looking like the best team in the last 10 minutes, if you ask me. You know, they're looking sharp, they're creating moments for themselves. You know, they're trying their best to win back the ball high up in the air as well. But as I was saying, with this Argentina team, you know, the setup and the model of this team, there is no real genuine. That's a very good. That is a very good opportunity. You know, there is no real genuinely another player like Lionel Messi that can pick up the ball and just can create something out of anything. There's genuinely no other player in this squad can do that. He's the only player really can pick up that ball and just start to dribble and magic start to happen. So you just look at the model and how he built this team around Messi with talented players. You know, Almada is a talented player as well. You know, playing for, you know, Atletico Madrid, but Almada is not that type of a player where you're looking at like a Vinicius Junior, like someone that, you know, can beat someone with pace, you know, explosive like a Kylian Mbappe, like a Olise. Argentina don't have a Olise or a Dembele, you know, outside of Lionel Messi. They don't have that player. Yeah, they don't have, you know, those type of player that the French national team have, but what they do, they blend their quality and add it with Lionel Messi brilliance. And the heart and soul of this Argentina team is how they mold together, you know, as a unit, very strong unit. And their biggest strength is playing as a unit and collective work and playing for that one man on the pitch, and it is Lionel Messi. You get me? So they sacrifice everything. So you look at the two wingers like Rodrigo de Paul, you know, he's not an out and out right wing. He's not going to beat anyone for pace. He's not really going to do that. What he's going to do is what he did by assisting Lionel Messi that ball. And also, he's going to bite people ankle. You get what I'm saying? So he's going to fight. So the way all this team built and everybody, you know, willing to do that one job and to sacrifice whatever other talent or other things that they can do on the pitch just for one man can succeed. You cannot underrate that. You cannot underrate that. There's no ego in around this team. And I think over the last 2 years are really since when they won that World Cup, I think 23, 24, and you're watching that team in the last Copa America, you know, you're looking really hard on this Argentina team. They really find ways on how they can play without Lionel Messi in certain games. They can survive without a Messi in certain games. Yes, he is a heart and soul, but when you remove a Messi from this Argentina team, you're going to lose a lot. But the team find ways to win games without Messi, and that's one of the key. That is one of the key. And if you look at a lot of the CONMEBOL qualification games that they played, a few games they played, you know, well without Lionel Messi, and the team, you remove individual brilliance, but you can still see a structure within the group of players. And you're like, yo, whatever project Lionel Scaloni is building right here, you know, for Argentina, it's very powerful. It's very powerful. They don't have the best players around in Europe, like Olise dominating Champions League, dominating the Bundesliga. Kylian Mbappe, you know, scoring 40 plus goals season after season. They don't have that. So they have to add different things, to their team to have success. And French team now and Argentina now, this Argentina team isn't a better team than the French team with talent. But as a squad, I believe Argentina have the best team as a squad of players that can do their individual work and how this team going to succeed and achieve. You get what I'm saying? So I think Argentina have the best squad of players that can be named each every match day squad to put out 11. No other team for me in this World Cup better than this Argentina squad. Not with just individual talent, but a squad of players that can play the football. No other team, you talk about the England, you talk about the Germany, you talk about the French, the Spain team, Argentina team, they can play the transition game. They can play the possession game. They can drop in a low block. And you see 9 outfield men just drop deep behind that ball. And Lionel Messi there right in front of it, just watching everyone running around. And the moment that ball release on an Argentina foot, then it's like there's a flick switch in those players. So I just think, to me, they got the best squad. They got the best squad like in this World Cup, and it's going to be very difficult to break down this Argentina team. There's a lot of loopholes where you can get around this Argentina team. A lot of loopholes, but you're going to have to be very good to get to their weakness. They don't open up their weakness to any team just like that. You have to be such a fantastic player, and you have to be a very good bunch of players that you're going to penetrate them and jab them in their side, in their ribs corner constantly, so that those little weak spots can be open up. Yeah, open up their wounds, let them start bleed. But I'm ready to watch this World Cup and to see which team going to get past this Argentina team. I'm not an Argentina supporter, but you have to just speak. I know it is at this moment. They have the best bunch of players collectively. They have the best bunch of players collectively at this moment. Mahrez out. I don't know. I saw Mahrez on the bench, so I think it's more of a tactical issue of the workman style of Argentina. I believe not allowing Riyad Mahrez to start in this game, because if Algeria are going to do anything, you're going to need him until the end of this game. And can Mahrez play 90 minutes constantly? If you look at the players that playing behind Gouiri, the number 9 for Algeria, they're very strong. There are some young players as well coming through. Yeah. So, and they're more willing to go up and down. So the Algerian coach, I think his name is Petkovic, is sacrificing talent with hard work on the pitch of matching up with players that can battle this Argentina team, on the pitch, 50-50, athleticism. You have to can sprint. You have to constantly moving around this team. You have to be fit. You can't be no sluggish man on the pitch. It's just not going to work. The moment this team realize that end of the pitch is a bit of a weakness, there's no real athleticism on that side, they're going to take advantage of that side. So let's see what's going to happen. But they have to watch Argentina lose the World Cup, but it's going to be a difficult World Cup for them to lose. They're probably going to have to make a few mistakes or beat themselves. But let's see, man. When Messi is around and on that pitch, he causes chaos amongst the opposition team. Yeah, that's one of their big X factor of this World Cup having Lionel Messi fit, and I'm really going to see how much they're going to balance the minutes for Lionel Messi. Is him coming off slightly a tight muscle. Wasn't nothing really serious. When he got injured for Inter Miami. I always know that Messi was going to play this first game. You crazy? First World Cup game of the campaign, and Messi will not be. It have to be something really serious for Messi to miss that game. So interested to see how they're going to manage his game and the minutes that he's going to play it, because at this World Cup, when there's extra rounds of games, you don't want Messi, to be playing 90 minutes in the 3 group games. You want to keep him as fresh as possible. And if Argentina are more likely going to win this group and finish on top, they will probably face, one of those best third place team, and it probably will get a favorable draw. To be honest, probably get a favorable draw, and Messi will play, but you would like to want to kill that team, very early in the first half, and to probably let Messi rest his leg for the last 15-20 minutes. Put his foot up in the air, in the dugout, get some high span him, and get him ready, for the round of 16. And if you get a favorable draw, you can dismiss that team. But it's very hard, man. It's very hard to have a Lionel Messi on the pitch and him to come to agreement that, okay, it's okay for you to take me off. It's very difficult. Always going to be a much difficult task, but I'm not really, expecting a lot, from this Nigerian team, to be honest, from this Algerian team, to be honest. Not going to expect a lot, from this Algerian team. I think the two real players that might can, if they can have a say in this game by helping out the attacking third, I Nouri and Belgahali, that player playing at right back position. If those players can get up the pitch and push back this Argentina team as a little bit more, having Rodrigo de Paul doing, some defensive work, I think they will have moments in the game, and they will have their midfielders will probably get more chances on the ball. The likes of Bentaleb in that midfield, they will have a great opportunity, to do something, create threats, create chaotic moment in around this Argentina team. So basically saying the right back, Belgahali and I Nouri, the left back, if those two players can support, Chaibi, which I think is a very good player as well. If they can support the 10 and 11, Musa, who came in for, Riyad Mahrez, right? These guys played quite a few games, together as well in the qualification round. So if those two guys can get support by the left and the right back and give them support, that will push back the team and allow the game to play in front their own midfield. So they can have a little bit of a respite, a bit of possession. Argentina team is not a team that big and eager where they will constantly want to press. No, at times, Argentina realize that they're pressing for 5 minutes straight and not getting close to the opposition team. They're willing to drop them ego and drop deep and watch and come up with another game plan. They're not going to be aggressive, pressing. I've seen this team allow teams with the possession drop deep, especially some of the games where Lionel Messi, wasn't involved in the qualification. They drop deep as a unit and they defend. And that's why they were so strong in the qualification round where when they go away, when they go away to teams in the CONMEBOL region in the qualification run, it's a different Argentina team, you see, especially if the number 10, the genius, is not on the pitch. It's a different team. So they have different ways of dig result. They can play ugly, they can play pretty. That's the great thing about this team. He can demand whatever he wants, Lionel Scaloni, and he's going to get normally 7, 8 out of 10. And at any average day, this team will produce 7 or 8 out of 10 for him. So you have to come, with great strategy and tactical work to get in around this team. It can happen. It can happen, but you have to be good at your work. Yeah. So probably expect to see Riyadh play some minutes in this game. It depends on how much this game drag on to be 1-0, where they still, have a very good shot of still get something out of this game, to be honest. But I think this is a very young, type of Algerian team where it's a different wave of players are coming through. Yeah, it's a different ways. I think the next 2 years, this team will be ready. I think this Algerian team, next 2 years, with a very, decent striker. Even though, Guri, can be on and off at times, not the best season at this time at Olympic Marseille. Even when the Zerbi was there, sometimes favor different people, like especially when Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang came in as well, favored him as well. So he's a number 9 that can be hot and cold. But when you're talking about playing, in his region in CAF, he can be very deadly. Yeah, he can be very deadly as well. He will score the goals. But what Algeria want from him is to score the goals in the World Cup. But I think it's a very, very, very mid-age, mid-young, early 20s coming through as well. So give this team another 2 years and to get them, to play in an African championship and to go back into another cycle of qualification round and coming to the World Cup, there will be much of a mature team. Yeah. And, the Algerian fans will see a lot more from these players because these players are playing at a very decent level. Very decent level. And quite a few of them, will matriculate and go to the next level, of club football. So, and again, this is a team that is using up the heritage market, the diaspora. Yeah, they are using up the diaspora very well. And you could look at the man in goal. You get what I say? The man in goal alone tell you, say them are use up heritage players, very well. Zidane's son, Luka. Man named Luka. So let's see what this Algeria team will bring. Still think them have something in the game if the longer them keep it 1-0. And if they can start to frustrate this Argentina team by one of the loopholes is go into a fight with these players and letting them lose in the battle. You will get this Argentina team frustrated. And another ways of beating this team is to use a gap between the fullbacks and the center halves. Their center half is not the quickest. Don't allow them to come into a tug war with you, because they're very aggressive. But use up the space between the wing backs and the right wing or the left wing, right around there. Use up those space. Get quick players around there. Get players that's very dynamic, can beat players 1v1 at ease. Use player that very explosive. And then you want to drag the center backs away from not being 5 to 7 yards apart, because that's when they're strong. If you beat Romero, there will be Licho. You get what I say? So if you beat Licho, there will be Romero. Once they are close, 5 to 7 yards, they will always be strong. But you want to pull Romero into the right back role. You want to pull Martinez wide as possible. Getting the Enzo and the McAllister have to be dropping deep as close in the center back role. And that's how you find space. And if you have good midfielders, that one midfielder that going to roam in that midfield, he will find luxury time in the middle of the park. Messi not going to drop back. There will be another striker that will drop back. So you want to stretch the gap between Messi and the pack as wide as possible. So they are a bit of a room and how to beat this Argentina team, but it's easy said and done. It's easy said than done. You have to be at the best. But they are watch a game. They are watch a game and observe, hoping Algeria can find a goal. Shake up Kansas City down in Missouri. Shake up the Arrowhead Stadium. Make the place shake and a drop. And here comes, Argentina. It seems like on the break, but keeper Luka Zidane came out and mapped that one up very cleanly as well. And it's Anit Yuri is playing with that ball with Rodrigo De Paul. He's the wrong man, to be playing with, especially when he's so close. It's good to see a team like Algeria is using up the Netherlands diaspora, scanning that very well as well, using up the German diaspora and scanning that. And France is a stronghold for African football. Every mama and them papa got France go drop picnic. Every mama and papa got France go do them local bedroom work and get youths. So every nationality in Africa, have a strong root in France. And you know why? The whole slave trade and all of that and stuff like that already. So, but every mama and papa drop them load of France. So there always be people ready to come and play for these African teams. I mean, shit, every time when Lionel Messi get on the ball, there's always at least 4 movements ahead of him. There have never been stagnant players when Messi is on the ball. One time before this team, before this team really start to hit, the ground running, under this coach, Argentina teams at times, especially you're looking at the 2014 team, every time when Messi pick up the ball, sometimes you have less runners ahead of him. That's why Lionel Messi likes to play with Angel Di Maria so much, because he knows that every time when he pick up the ball, there will be Angel Di Maria outlet be available in a split second. So if you look at when Messi pick up the ball, every time there will be at least 3 forward moves in front of him where he will have options. And that's one of the deadliest thing about this team, because they know when Messi pick up the ball, they're going to have to put 1 or 2 body, try to close him down. And then they know that by them running into space, it will create chaos. And who to mark, who's going to switch off, who's going to be free, and which defender will be out of their position. You get what I say? So it's a very IQ thinking, just watching Argentina team. It's not difficult, to look and think, but it can be difficult to contain. But speak about it is the easiest thing. Speak about it. It is the easiest thing. Easier said than done, because if the average man, on the street who watch football daily can really look at some of these stuff, why you think the coach that study for years to become a coach, why you think he's not going to pick it up? But how him can mastermind all of that plan on the pitch? That's the difficult thing. That's the difficult thing. How are you going to close down all those channels, all those plays? That's the crazy trick, because you only have 11 players just like them. And if you have 2 players tracking him at all time, that's 2 extra position free. But watch just watch the front three where they're behind Algeria number 9. The 10, the 11, and I think the 22. 22 must name Maza. Very good young player. Very good young player. Those 3 players will definitely be the future for this Algerian team. Definitely be the future of their attacking weapon that they will have in probably the next 10 years from now. Depends on how these players' career will pans out, if they will go to the next level, individually in their career, or if they will be stagnant. But these players should be, the future for Algeria. The country is banking on these youths coming to play for the national team very young as well, to early 20s, coming from Germany, France, Netherlands, you name it. If we can find players, from Algeria playing in Belgium, the whole of that side. Spain as well, for Morocco, stronghold. For Morocco, would have seen a Spanish born in Barcelona, Saibari, scored in Brazil as well. Could have played for Spain. That's the country where he was born. So those countries up north in Africa, Algeria, Morocco, Egypt is kind of different. See the thing, Egypt is kind of different. Egypt is a team where it's a lot of local lads, and the diaspora is not so strong for Egypt when it comes on to players. Yeah, when it comes on to players, the diaspora is not so strong for Egypt. I don't know why. Maybe that's something I need to research, and why the diaspora is not so strong for Egypt for football players. But when you talk about Tunisians, yeah, the whole up that side, it's very strong diaspora in Europe. I must know why the Egyptians, they are not so strong across Europe as well, but that's another story there, But the game, you see, Algeria, having a ball, there's no real pressure on them. And this is the thing that this Argentina team can do. At times they can allow you with the ball, and they just try to, stay compact and see what you will offer. If you will make mistakes and give it away cheaply in dangerous area, especially like you see, like I think it's Martinez closing down, the center of like 5 minutes ago. If you do those stuff, then you will pay for your mistakes. Yeah, you will pay, for your mistakes. So it's crazy. Cape Verde as a diaspora too. Yeah, big up to the Cape Verde. But I was just more speaking on those the Arabics up north, close to the border of the southern side of Europe, Portugal and Spain. Come right up the Mediterranean, so coming around Italy and them side there. It's crazy, man. Everyone is using up the diaspora right now. Everyone is shaping up the diaspora. And I believe that for the next World Cup, we will see our next waves of French players coming over to play for 80. Sooner or later, they will start to get some very decent players. Because if this is the start of something great, it will happen. They will start to get the quality players in, where they will make decisions to come and play at a very early age. It started to happen already with the women. So again, it will happen anytime soon with the men. And I think anytime that start happening where them can get a lot of league on players, oh my God, with that structure and system that they have over there, I think it will cause a lot of issue locally in the Caribbean region and in the Gold Cup as well. So only Jamaica fight with the diaspora. Only Jamaica. Only Jamaicans fight with the diaspora. Only we. If you look at Egypt League, Egypt and I think South Africa have the most local players, in their team in the World Cup. That's coming from Africa, right? And those two leagues, the Egyptian League and the South African League, very powerful league in Africa. Very powerful. We talk about like club like Zamalek, Ali, and all those teams, right? We talk about Orlando Pirates, the Sundown, very powerful teams in Africa, and their leagues are very strong. And if country like Morocco have a next very strong league as well, but Morocco decide that what they have locally is not really the next level of players where we can match up with the European players. If you want to stay locally, then you're going to be like Egypt, that going to be underachieved. Look how long Egypt now in Afghan. You're going to be underachieved, right? And you're going to be like South Africa and all these teams where you just not. What a save. Wow. Yeah, so Argentina score again, people. Argentina score again, problem, Luka could hold on to the football. Again, I think Luka was very poor. I don't know if he was shadowed out, but he just couldn't hold on to the ball. He just couldn't hold on to the ball. But it's a very powerful shot from McAllister. But all right. So Rania said, many Egyptians go to the US. Many Haitians seems to go to US instead of France. Yeah, you have a strong Haitian presence in the US. But I'm saying if they can also start to get, because I don't know who must post something, but I see something already online where they said that the players that you'll never think of Haitian roots playing in the French Liga is crazy. And if they can capture at least 5 of those good talented players in Liga every 2 years, they will be a force to be reckoned. But what I'm really saying, man, the diaspora is there to use. And if Morocco decide that they want to go to the next level, look at the stadiums Morocco having their country. It's one of the most profitable league as well, just like South Africa League in a TV commercial. The infrastructure is good. Morocco have one of the best infrastructure. And if they decide that their local players are not that good for that next level of where the national team should go, because they believe and they think that they can compete against the big boys, and it's been showing, over the last 6 years as well. Look at how they compete regionally and look how they compete on the world scale. it have shown that what they are doing is something different. And if they have some of the best local lads in Morocco that can play for the national team and that could work in some of the positions in that Egyptian team, but they decide to go to the diaspora to help to scan and to bring in a quality player. Look at this situation where who was Morocco best player last World Cup was easily undone, if not it was Amrabat, right? Amrabat was like arguably, probably the best player for Morocco. Yes, they have Akeem in and all these players, the Ziyech and all those players, the El Nasiri. But I'm saying he was like everyone was talking about, Amrabat, how good he was in that midfield, how much kilometers, he run in that World Cup. And I'm looking at Morocco starting 11 versus Brazil, and I was like, wait, this man was arguably their best player, and he's benching because the coach decided to go with an 18-year-old, right? And also, what, 23? El Canui, the guy that played for Roma, he's probably like 23, 24, and the coach decided to go with those two players. That tells you that they are not going off of names. They are going off of what suit their system and which player can play to that standard. If that 18-year-old kid was in the Reggae Boy team and Amrabat was Jamaica's best player in the last World Cup, hands down, every God Almighty coach are going to use Amrabat because of him name, because what he have done in the last World Cup. But again, the coach change. That's a part of it as well. But you can see the vision and how this team, is really going about their national team. They're not really just going off on him. Look at El Nasiri, Hakimi. Them man they are yard. I think Hakimi went back to play in Morocco, to really cement his spot and get regular games. But them man they are them yard. Enough of the man they get picked. Quite a few of the man they get picked. And them man, there was a key part of what Morocco did 4 years ago. So it's telling me that the vision is on a different level of what Morocco, is trying. Of what Morocco is trying to achieve. Say Siberia, Ghana, Bayern Munich. It's only a moment before more of their players go into that next level. You get what I say? So the vision, man, for that country, and also what Senegal is doing locally, in their league, getting people to come and look at their best young prospect to take them away outside of Senegal at a very young age, to bring them in Europe, let them be exposed at a very early age. Because one thing one of the coach said, I watched this film on YouTube. He was saying that when you have arguably, the top 5 best players in Senegal and they play at the under 17 level and play in the World Cup if they make it. If that kid stay back to play under 20 and still playing for a local team in Senegal, that means something is wrong with him. He's probably not good enough to go to the European level, or he's a late bloomer. But once the players finish under 17, that's the time when they transport them all apart around in Europe to get them to that next level. Because he said that as much as Senegal have a bit more advancement in coaching and they're still learning, they are not at that next level where they can take control of these kids at 18, 19. Himself, where them can give those players, it's way below the level of what those kids would have been learning if they would be exposed to much more better infrastructure, much more high level coaching. So I'm really looking at it. I'm like, there is a freaking plan with a lot of these national teams. Japan have some of the best coaches in AFC, but Japan hire Roger Smith, the former Leverkusen manager, I think, and Leipzig as well, to be the director of their league and to teach the technical directors for each clubs and the coaches the next level of how they can develop their players and what Europe is doing. So I'm like, these guys are searching for the most elite level coaches. They are searching for the next gems. They are trying to build their own. And I'm like, they realize that locally they cannot do it by themselves. They need other people to come in and to show the rest of the coaches, technical directors, how it's been done at the highest level. And I think in that Japan thing that I was watching, that little short film, he was saying that this is the first time I'm going to talk this on camera, some of my secret. I'm like, wow. I'm like, this Japan thing is on a different level. That's why them mania are produce good talented players that can survive in Europe top 5 league. And just give Japan some time. I think they are working very hard behind the scene on how they can win a World Cup and how they can go even farther in our World Cup. I think they are working very hard on their football infrastructure and their game model, and they each time they're searching on how they can raise the bar. I'm like, Jaja, it have to start from somewhere. But it have to take people who serious, who is going to sacrifice what it will take for a national team and the club teams in that country. So if you want to go ahead and hire somebody who affiliate and have so much ownership and willing to make that club profitable in the league, it's going to be very difficult to have that individual go to arena, go to a waterhouse, go to different clubs and help their model. So right there is a conflict, because things like that, I don't think it would have ever done. You get what I say? So right there's a bit of conflict right there. Look, what do I experience playing in the champion as experience playing in the champion? Look, when I heard about this kid and I was watching him, I was wondering who's this guy. It was pretty much unknown to me, and I did a bit of research and realized that this player has been playing in the French league for a couple of years well now, and I'm like, he's that good to be playing at a very young age, 16 in the French league. I've never really known much about him, and for him to commit with that big future and that big potential to Morocco, that means them man they over the side is something good. Look at the man, he went to Europe at 18, he went to Spain and then Germany. Yeah, it shows, man. It shows like the pathways of where these players are going and the journey that they're taking on. It's so crazy. Diamande is playing World Cup while a few years back he was playing high school football. And according to Rudolph Speed, play like that at 18, 19, playing Manning Cup, not playing at any Premier League team, but affiliate with a private academy, he will know where be in his team. You see them kind of backway thinking there? Them kind of backway thinking. And as much as, Whisper is a good youth, have a very good potential, can really go somewhere, at the club level, a player like him would have never come through the national team. So it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, look at Lionel Scaloni. I think just before the final squad pick for the Qatar World Cup, he was picking a lot of players, like Garnacho, while those players were playing in the reserve league, never exposed to Manchester United first team setup, but playing in the reserve league, other players playing academy football in Europe, but they scan Europe and realize that those players probably be the next set of waves that will come to Argentinian football. And I like Argentina couldn't pick better players playing in higher quality, professional stuff, but they know why they pick those players. Him know all of them not gonna come true, but some will make it, and that's just the nature of having young kids at young age. All of them not going to come true. You get what I say? So some backway thinking are going to Jamaica. Some backway thinking, and to lose out on that money. Sometimes you want to say you're happy, and then the next time you want to say you're sad, because you're going to be sad because you know where the money they could have done locally in Jamaica if it's spent the right way. Yeah, if that money would have spent the right way, you know exactly what that could have done. That could have put help to move some needles around our national team and local football in Jamaica. So the next thing again, you're not going to be happy because you're wondering, like, you see the movie already where big food dropping at them on a lap and it cannot be found. You get what I'm saying? It cannot be found. Money is not circulating the right way. Before it got to the right person, the money take 2%, the money take 5%, the money take 2% again. And by the time, look, the cake reach halfway before it reach its final destination. Even many Americans and Canadians go to Europe early. Jonathan David went to Belgium at 18. All right, so remember the time when Bruce Arena failed with the U.S. men's national team in Trinidad? You start to see a long list of players start to go. The man, me I wonder, where so much young U.S. academy players getting those opportunities from in Europe, 16, 17. The man knows that the man might plant some seed out in Europe, and the man knows say that's the key. That is the key. And for like a small country like Jamaica, I believe that we need help. We need massive help. We need massive help because having the opportunity to teach the CONCACAF Pro license, that's nothing compared to what's out there. That coaching license that is nothing. That's 3-0. Messi is getting closer to Miroslav Klose. That's 3. That's this first ever hat-trick from Lionel Messi. Cristiano Ronaldo cannot sleep tonight. I can tell you that. Cristiano Ronaldo cannot sleep tonight. I can tell you that. That is a trademark goal from Lionel Messi, and the World Cup has begun. Yeah, I think the World Cup starts today because the little genius, the little magician, scored a hat-trick. Yeah, he scored a hat-trick. Algeria fans cannot be shamed as the world champion and beat them. You get what I say? But what I say is the man them start plant some whole heap of seed out there in Europe with their 16, 17-year-old. So we need help back home in Jamaica. We need massive help. Is that offside from Nico Gonzalez? I think before the game start, before the Senegal game start, I think Mbappe was 4 goals away from Miroslav. I think that record will break in this. I think that record will some part in this tournament will get smashed. One of them will shattered, and I think the two of them are really going at it at this moment. The two of them have a very good eye for it at this moment to smash and shatter that in the group stage. You get what I say? So we need help, man. We need help back home in Jamaica. Like the speed and the peer them. If you look where the teams them will go work up with, them man they pass them level a long time. Them man they pass them level the long time of where our most qualified coach is doing at this moment. The countries them will go work up with for the very first time. Even look at Ecuador. I recently Ecuador, I think start qualify for some World Cups. Ecuador wasn't a powerhouse in a South America in the 80s, 70s. It wasn't. You get what I say? Recently, certain teams, after the 98 and 2000, quite a few teams went to those two World Cup for the very first time. And from there, there's no turning back. So our most highly skilled, qualified coach locally in Jamaica, they are not even on the level of some of the coaches in Montenegro, in countries like Romania. When you do your research and look on the level of how much UEFA Pro license and what those coaches are doing to educate themselves and the jobs and also the internship that they would have experienced to get to that next level, our coaches are nowhere near that. Nowhere near it. Yeah. So also, Jonathan David was born, to Haitian parents in the US and moved to Canada at a young age as well. Yeah. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Even I think Altidore is a massive Haitian as well. He walk and live with that Haitian roots, beside of him as well. So the Haitian have a very good diaspora in the US. Very good diaspora. That was the 2018 World Cup. Bruce Arena crashed out after qualifying run as well. Yeah, man. So it's crazy, the world is moving so fast, along the football journey. And we seems like we never born as yet because the speed at what we are doing, we are creeping. If Lionel Scaloni get Peru, Venezuela, and Bolivia to qualify for a World Cup, if it was like in that format where the group stage or the CONMEBOL in different segment, and let's add probably one more team to it. Yeah, say a Chile, a team their team is nowhere close to the level of where they was once, winning back-to-back Copa America, and that Sampo, 10 years ago, right? You think Lionel Scaloni would have a job at this moment? Hell no. You think the head of the director who do the recruitments would have a job right now? Hell no. So why you think them man are supposed to have a job and I get reward with periods of going into a next field after you feel miserable, run one field, and you come back run us again to come try another experiment? God walk with me. They are enjoy Argentina game. And I think the second half, I think the Algerian team, man, I think the Argentina has been a shadow of themselves. They start out really well, but I just think they allowed with the ball quite a few times, but they have nothing in them. They don't have nothing in them. I just think this Argentina team is just so slick, smooth in transition, giving Messi the balls, in the pockets. And once you give him those opportunities, man, you just have to close your eye. Lionel Messi is off the pitch. That's very good sign as well. That's very good sign. Romero is off the pitch. Someone who was injured in the back end of Tottenham season as well. So two men that arguably was an issue coming into this tournament. If they're going to start the tournament, they off the pitch at this moment. So good news, man. Good news to see Messi score a trick, and that's the only reason you can really take Messi off the field. I doubt if Messi's in and two goal if Scaloni would have have the agreement of said, hey, listen, man, your time is up, man. I need to take you off, get some fresher legs on the pitch, and get more people, to run out and get some minutes and rest the legs. You're not 10 years ago or 15 years ago, but it's great. It's great to see that the back end of Lionel Messi career for Argentina is achieving all these greats. And when he was in his prime, he wasn't nowhere near of achieving all of this. Nowhere near of achieving. And Messi have played in some gigantic teams for Argentina. 06, 010. That 010 in South Africa under Diego. That was some bunch of crazy heads was in that team. That team was so crazy. Yeah, that man, there was like some bunch of madman run up and down on that pitch. But it's just crazy how in his prime, he was nowhere near these type of achievements for Argentina. And now, late or started probably mid-30s, start to achieve all these great things. That's crazy. That's crazy, man. Football is a fun in sports. Look at Vozina, the Cape Verde, goalkeeper. At 40, he started to live his best life as a professional player. His life is set after this World Cup. With so much Instagram followers, in the split of 48 hours, his life set after this World Cup. He can become a fashion modeler. He can become anything he wants. And he will start to earn even more money after retirement. Because, he's not earning not much. You have never really played on that big stage, for any clubs. You get what I'm saying? So he will definitely be earning a lot more money retiring from the sport than when he was playing in the game. And not many players have the luxury of earning more money after retirement than when he was playing. Messi will be comfortable in the US World Cup because he's playing in the MLS. Yeah. And it easily could be a strategic plan as well of knowing that this World Cup will arguably be his last World Cup. And it could be that mastermind of him saying, listen, let's go down in Miami. Beckham have a very good project and it's a perfect destination. It's nowhere near any cold weather. Yes, you can have natural disaster there, like, the hurricane and stuff like that, but it's the perfect weather, for him. It's the perfect weather for him and his family to live. Perfect destination as well, strong hold of Latino South American background. So it could have been a strategic plan, for him to come to the MLS. Who knows what he was thinking before he signed from Paris Saint-Germain to the MLS. It's going to be a hell of a ride. This World Cup just seems like it will be a marathon because, the expansion and the teams, you watch a team play, and you're not going to see a team play for close to a week, probably like 5 days, 6 days. Yeah. Normally, like in the last World Cup, every 3 days you see a team a player. Yeah, every 3-4 days, your team a play. So the games are coming thick and fast in dense heat in Qatar as well. But here the players them get at me. Say, man, I think the other day the US team get a full day off where man can fly go anywhere across the country, go do what you want to do. You would have never get that at any other World Cup. None. Even the Russian one was very weird because flying from Moscow going to different parts in Russia can easily be 7, 8 hours. That's crazy. Plus, he can walk around in public and people might not even recognize him. Yeah, I think, I think me see, me I try remember. I think we see some video clip of the Dutch team walking around in Times Square in Manhattan. I'm like, they could have never done this any parts in the world, say outside of this America's continent. They could have never done that, especially if it was in like maybe an Asian country or an African country. Can't do that. So I just think, Miami is a very nice place for you as well. You get what I say? You hear Messi, I walk up and down in a supermarket. This, you can live like a regular civilians around, man. Yeah, that's some of the great things, especially like in New York, like football players in Europe come to the MLS and stuff like that. I remember, used to live in New York, and when Pirlo used to play for the team, I think they said Pirlo used to live in a local small community named Chelsea in Manhattan, right? Before he used to live there, but then he moved, got somewhere else. And they said like Pirlo can, come out, go to his local coffee shop in around the corner and sit down with him shades on, drink some coffee, eat a bagel or something. And no one mind that man business or bomb rush him. You'll have maybe that odd ones will recognize that that's Andre Pirlo. Let's go ask him for a photo or something or autograph. So the look of peace and quiet that you can get. Yeah, look, it's different some part in the world, very different. But I think football players really do live a calm life. Here, Thierry Henry speak about it as well by playing for New York Red Bull and living in New York. You can live a calmer life than that way you could live in London per se. The red hot Thierry Henry in the early 2000s could walk around in London by himself. No way. No way. The crowd and everybody would have attack him for photo, the paparazzi, and yeah, you have the photo and the paparazzi, them nothing in New York and stuff like that, but it's not so much for the European players. I do think though the MLB, the NBA stars, they do get followed a lot in New York. Like they cannot live an average life in New York. They cannot. The cameras that's going to be around, the people that's going to be asking for photos and stuff like that. Yeah. But 3-0, a very comfortable ride for Argentina in Kansas. You're seeing the great quarterback watching the game as well, Mahomes watching his best friend in the football industry, Lionel Messi. And this is not the first time Messi is playing in this stadium. Now, I remember Kansas City have to postpone a few games at Sporting Dick Park, at the home of Kansas City football team, because the demands for tickets, that was Messi's first couple of games down there. And they decided from now on, every game that Inter Miami are going to play with Lionel Messi and they're going to play, that's game going to go to the Arrowhead Stadium. Cannot play locally where Kansas City Stadium only can hold like maybe 21, 25,000 people. Demand is just too crazy. Yeah, but let's see how Brazil will bounce back. But countries like England, Portugal, look, I'm telling you, man, Cristiano Ronaldo, I don't know where this Portugal team, I think the Portuguese team, I saw them like maybe they having a camp in Miami. I'm not sure where they're at this moment, or where is their base, if they're on the East Coast or if they're on the West Coast. But at this time, 10:55, if Ronaldo is on the Eastern time zone, I know he will be sleeping because that man have a different mindset of getting his rest, getting his body, recover very well as well, and to get up at each morning. Just by listening to his interviews and how he speak, I'm just going off of that judgment. So I probably more likely he's not watching this game. But when him wake up and check him phone and him see Messi score a trick, he might go remember. He might go remember the World Cup a trick that him score upon Spain. And he might go say, listen, man, I may need to repeat this. Yeah? And Portugal are play. And tomorrow them are play up in Atlanta. Yeah, they will be playing. They will be playing. No, that game will be playing in Texas. So more likely right now, they are in a central time zone. So just a hour or two, so it's late at this moment, in Texas, same way. So Ronaldo will be sleeping. That game will be playing 1 p.m. So definitely Ronaldo will be sleeping. Ronaldo will be not up watching this game, knowing that there will be an early kickoff tomorrow in the heat of Texas. My goodness grace. The weather forecast scheduled for 87 degrees tomorrow. So in Texas. So that's going to be a hot day in Texas. That's going to be a hot day. So definitely close to 100%. Yeah, Ronaldo will be sleeping. So he will heard about this hat-trick and he will watch the replay because these two players motivate each other. You get what I'm saying? And Ronaldo will be thinking about a hat-trick tomorrow, or at least score a goal versus DRC. So one more game left back tonight. Austria versus Jordan. To be honest, to the amount of work that I've done, this morning, to go to work extra early so I can get off a bit early so I can come and watch World Cup games and stream the Senegal game. Went off to get some things done, come back here a bit late, sitting up, and have to go back and finish up some more things right after this. I'm not sure if I will be strong enough. I'm not sure if I will be strong enough to sit up and watch that Austria Jordan game. But the great thing about having YouTube TV, you get back all of the games. And that's the great things I like about it. Where you can, even if you have different options as well, you can record the game as well. But the great thing, the game will be right there as you turn on YouTube TV. You get what I'm saying? So I will definitely waking up early tomorrow morning and watch back that Austria game, in the first 45 minutes before me wake up, before me get out of the house in the morning, and also watch the next 45 minutes while doing my work tomorrow. So it's crazy, but I love this World Cup, man. I love it. Kicks off tomorrow, 1 p.m., 4 p.m. England will playing in Dallas in that AC stadium, and then another CONCACAF team will be kicking off, and then that will be curtains for all the groups. So from A to L, we'll have played at least a game in the World Cup, and then we return back to Group A on Thursday. Czechia versus South Africa, Switzerland versus Bosnia, Qatar versus Canada. So we'll get back to host them again in 1 day, 2 day, and then the next day on Friday will be a big game. I'm looking forward for the rest of the week. It's going to be a very good World Cup. I think outside of what the political issue, I think it's going to be a decent World Cup, if you ask me. You get what I'm saying? No Argentina history. I would never ever cheer for them. I'm not, and it's crazy. I grew up watching my father, a diehard Argentinian fan. And I want to say maybe it was this new evolution in my life, probably start like 10 years ago, like to the next level, because you have always been a man that, researching and stuff like that. But I think my father hit a journey in my life probably 10 years ago when I just probably came to the US. A new evolution. And I never know that man would have stopped support Argentina. Know that man is a true and true Argentinian fan. And for what he started to observe and dig more even deeper and deeper and figure out the root of that problem, of what caused all of that, and how everything, start to evolve from then until now. He have never supported Argentina anymore since that 2014 World Cup. Never. I've never. He will watch the World Cup, but I've never support no other team, no other national team. Right now, you only can speak about Arnett Garden and probably, the Reggae Boys team. And for elder people, who love Jamaica, for where the money I do know, it a turn off a lot of people. And me grew up in a also with my father, true and true Arnett Garden, red and black. Remember the days of him telling me about the story of how Reno beating Arnett Garden in the National Stadium in Premier League final. I think it was 92 summer right there when Eugene Barnes, I think he said, give away one of the goal. Walking out of the National Stadium, crying, living in water like a baby. Like a baby just a born and them spunk our ass so she can make some nice. Yeah, crying like a baby. I remember those stories vividly. Like over, Arnett Garden break him out, but never turn him back. So I know where my father come from with Jamaican football and local football, how much man like him love it to bed anywhere Jamaica there. Them there care if a locally are in the diaspora as well. Spend money, tickets I got to go watch games. And just to see what the man them do know, it a turn off a lot of people where die-hearted supporter, because there's no real accountability in the program. And it's like you have some set of man that decide that they want to come crash everything. You're not doing it the right things. And when you hear about stories of people that was involved, players that was involved, when you hear about who now get per diem, which man in the organization, some man now get them per diem. Like when you hear about stories like them there, and then it come back to the street because people affiliate with that people and that people. The elderly man them will hear them story and know say, yo, the youths are gonna get robbed blindfolded. Because them don't know about certain things. You get what I say? So a whole heap of people get turned off from the football, a whole heap of people. And they have lived through so much disaster with the national team and how much the program has been rotten, rooted. But there's only a moment before your body can take all that pressure. And then your cup will be running right over. I'm not sure if me as a young youth reached a level yet of turning my back on the national. I said turning my back, but I really don't want to hear much what go on with the organization, with them type of party shop business where I go on. I think my system strong enough for brace and face all of that travesty where happening now. But maybe later, you never know. Maybe sometime, if them things are continue, maybe I will even tell my son, hey, playing for Jamaica is like wasting the time. But if you want to do it, because you was born there and that's your birthland, it's fine. But my decision would have been go somewhere else and play football. because the people them that are run the organization mean no good. You get what I mean? I say FIFA as a whole is, yeah, it is. But not because the head of the big C, along them, that mean you have to do the right thing. You know how much national teams out there walk with the big C, but guess what? You will never really know because they make sure that they done the job correctly. So whatever I get pushed under the rug, it's nothing because them are do the right thing and success are coming. So you will never stop the big C. You will never stop it. But it's one thing of doing the big C and not doing the right thing for the next waves of generations of youth coming up. Because being involved around, Arnett Garden, coming up, through the regime of Omar Davis, Patrick Roberts, Charlie Chaplin, these big fellas, once used to have high power position in Arnett Garden. You hear so much stories about past players involved with stuff behind the scene, like, and you're wondering, and them money I say them love Jamaican football. You get what I say? Them money I say them are junglists. You used to see George Pang sit down on the touchline, and when you hear stories, you wonder if some of them money I say them are true and true red and black, or them are true and true Arnett Garden and a true and true junglists, or them are true and true Trench Town. You get what I say? So it's crazy where people are gonna always do negativity, but you have to make sure your people feed and fed well. You have to make sure that the youths around get well taken care of. Else them will turn in and eat their food. That's how they get to run. You get what I say? You can be loyal to a bunch of youths and they can turn in and bite you and stab you behind your back. It's life, it's human being. They're going to think effed up. But the logical thing is, if you be loyal to a set of mongrel dog, they will never really turn and just bite you like that. It has to be where somebody come in that clique and corrupt their mind and start to manipulate it and turn them against what they know is truth and right. You get what I say? So people, bless upon yourself, really appreciate whoever here. And also, the ones them that's passed through on X and Facebook as well. Much love and respect. Go get some refreshment. Who live on the Eastern time zone, go probably grab a shower in the late night, wait for the next game to start if you really have the time to watch it and will not be affected, with your time sleep or whatever you have to do in your household. But we have like the next an hour from now before the next game kick off. So go grab some refreshment, man. Yeah, go grab some refreshment. If you can, go drink some water or something, do something, man. Munch pan, something light because it's late at night and you don't want to eat nothing too heavy. Your body gonna sleep on that and your body can't really digest and dissolve all of that food. That fatty food will go all about in your body. But yeah, we're there again, people. Catch you guys definitely tomorrow. The rest of the big boys running out tomorrow, Cristiano Ronaldo, and the country that have one of the strongest media presence will all be in Arlington, Texas tomorrow. Yeah, so we have two big games down that side. Portugal is on that side down at Houston, and England will play in Dallas. So close by, we will see what's going to happen. You get what I say? So much love and respect. Really appreciate the ones them continue to support Nicaragua Media House channel. There again. So much love and respect, people.